But when they basically asked me how do I find the time to do all of these things, my response to them was that you put it properly when you said, how do I find the time? What they really meant is, how do you do this? But the way they put it was, how do you find the time? And I said, well, the answer to that question is within the context of the content of the question itself. You have to find the time, and if you can't, you make the time.
Okay, that's like I can probably need
a little heavy, so no.
Okay, no, the work I have is not difficult. It's just that I'd rather pay someone else to do it.
Yeah.
So basically,
I check on work. Yeah, it's good.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So I have you know the what do you call it? The well, anyway, I'll talk to you about it later. I need some work done at my house, so
Okay.
And also maybe I'll let you detail my car.
Yeah, I mean, have to look on me and have to everything. Your house.
Okay, absolutely.
New car, huh? New car, Mercedes.
What?
It's Mercedes car, huh?
Yeah.
Very good. Good car.
Thank you. All right, take it easy. All right. Anyway, I didn't plan that, but... And that's what gets me. You know, we have people always whining and complaining, occupying Wall Street. There's no jobs out there, and they can't do this. You have college graduates saying they can't pay their student loans, they can't get a job. We trying. That's the.
Bad things just won't go away. Poverty sticks and stings.
We gotta eat. We want to. We want money. We want to get fresh. We want fresh J's almost every day. We want all that.
But you're not getting it, are you?
We trying. That's the key word. We trying.
Where's the money? Where do you go for it?
Rob, steal, and kill. That's the only way. We ain't grow up in Beverly Hills. We don't get stuff handed to us. We gotta get it. We don't live in Hyde Park.
Okay. You didn't grow up in Beverly Hills. You gotta get it. You gotta eat. You want fresh J's every day. As you say. You don't live in Hyde Park. You didn't grow up in Beverly Hills. So, the only way you can get the basic necessities of life are to rob, steal, and kill, and sell drugs. Now, of course, you're not going to realize how ignorant you sound because you're surrounded by peers who think exactly like you. You're surrounded by other boys who think exactly like you. So, of course, you don't realize how ridiculous it sounds. If someone says something differently, they're the one that sounds ridiculous because they are deviating from what you consider to be the norm. The normal to you is thinking like this. Now let's just slow down a minute and think about that. Because you did not grow up in Beverly Hills, you don't live in Hyde Park, nothing is handed to you. The only options you have is robbing, stealing, killing, and selling drugs. That's what they just said. And I just want to ask you, why is it that since most of the world and most of the United States also did not grow up in Beverly Hills, don't live in Hyde Park, the majority of people, let's just focus on America, regardless of what race they are, that means white, black, Asian, Latino, it doesn't matter. The majority of kids did not grow up in Beverly Hills, Hyde Park, or any place even close to it. The majority. But fortunately, you people represent a minority, not a majority. So the majority of the people that also did not grow up in Beverly Hills or Hyde Park, the majority of people who didn't get things handed to them, somehow managed to make it in this life without resorting to what you guys do. The one thing that you miss, you don't want to hear, you don't want to listen to, and nobody has probably told you, is that none of that is the problem. The only problem is you yourself. You have no idea how pathetic you sound, especially to someone like me. And why do I say someone like me? Let me read something to you, out of a book that I wrote. As I lay on the table at the clinic, I could only think about my present dilemma. Things had gone from bad to worse. Never could I have imagined that I would be in this situation. Just 18, new to Los Angeles, unemployed and flat broke. In fact, the only source of revenue, income, or sustenance I had coming in was the $10 I was about to earn from donating this blood plasma and the $5 I had earned on my previous visit 2 days earlier, for a total of just $15 a week. Blood plasma is just the clear liquid part of blood that the actual blood platelets reside in. I have been living like this for almost 3 full months now. When I say $15 per week, I was saying that this was the absolute only income that I have received for the past 3 months. I had not received one additional dollar, had not borrowed even a nickel, and had not found even a dollar on the floor or a quarter behind a vending machine. There was literally no other income in any form. No vouchers, no free bus tokens, no food stamps, no handouts, and no free lunches. On this $15 per week earned from bi-weekly blood plasma donations, I had to take care of a number of things. I had to pay the bus fare to get to and from the blood bank, which was many miles away. I had to buy a newspaper, and that cost 10 cents almost daily, to look for new help-wanted ads that I might find in the newspaper. I also had to put dimes in a payphone to make the phone calls about the jobs that I was interested in. Oh, and in addition to all of that, I had to eat and take care of other little essentials that are necessary. I lived like this for about 3 months. Because I did not know then what I know now, today. I was ignorant about all of my other options. I was totally devoid of any street smarts or even street wisdom. I didn't know anything at all about government assistance program. I had heard of a food stamp, but I had never actually seen one. I had heard of welfare, but I thought that that was only for women with children. And I had vaguely heard something about another program called General Relief, but I was under the impression that that program was only for people who were mentally or physically disabled or disadvantaged. I fit neither category. And when I did eventually hear about the Job Corps program, I did go down to enroll. But I was told at the center that I did not qualify for Job Corps because my parents made too much money. That's what they said. Now, when I explained to the director of the Job Corps Center that I was now an adult, 18 years old, and that my parents were living on another continent, way over in Europe, and here I was in California, independent, I had no relatives here, it did not change anything. They told me, this program is for the disadvantaged. Now, here I was, just 18 years old, right out of high school, new to a big city, no family or other relatives in the entire city that could help me. Twice a week, I was taking a 1-hour bus ride so that I could lay on a table at a blood plasma donor center with a needle in my arm, squeezing a blue ball to pump blood into a bag for $5 on one visit and then $10 on the next. My total income, was a lousy $15 a week from donating blood plasma. And yet this man at the Job Corps had the audacity, the temerity, the unmitigated gall to tell me that I was not disadvantaged. But I didn't get mad. I did not protest at all after I made sure that they understood my predicament and that I was not going to use my parents' help. Now, I want you to understand that if I needed to, or even if I had asked them to, or told them about my dilemma, my parents certainly could have and would have helped me. But there was absolutely no way that I was going to ask them for help or even tell them I needed help. I was determined to make it completely on my own as an adult, as a young adult. And in order to prove something to myself, I had to do this without help. It was a manhood issue with me, and also a test of my independence that I was putting myself through. This was my own self-inflicted rite of passage. I would not contact my parents in Europe and ask them for help. I had to prove that I could make it, and that I could do it without mommy and daddy's help. At this stage in my life, it was important to me. Now, after being told that $15 a week as my only income notwithstanding, I was still just too rich, too wealthy for the Job Corps program, I actually almost felt a little guilty for even trying to get into the program in the first place. Such was my warped thinking. I left the Job Corps with no help and no solution. I left there feeling even more like a failure than I had before. I felt that instead of trying to take advantage of the programs that would for the disadvantaged, I should just be man enough to make it on my own without using the resources that are only there for the less fortunate. Yes, I actually thought like that. Here I was alone in a new city, just 18 years of age, fresh out of high school, flat broke, and as poor as anyone could possibly be in America. More poor than most people are in America, because most poor people do get some type of government help. I had not received one food stamp, $1, or a pack of free government cheese. And they were telling me I was too rich. And the Job Corps director was telling me I was too rich. $15 a week, don't ain't blood. On the brink of homelessness. They're telling me I don't qualify. I was at rock bottom. Yet I was made to feel by them that I had everything going for me and that there was just no reason that they, the Job Corps, the government, or anybody else, should help me. Perhaps that was not the real message, but that's what I got out of it. And you know something? I bought into it. I bought it. As I lay on that table in Westwood, California, waiting for them to put the blood back into my veins, I could only reflect about all that had happened. I had quit my job in Atlanta, Georgia, and left my parents' home to Los Angeles with my older brother, who had transferred from UCLA and was now attending USC. I had quit a good job to come to California. I had had a job working alongside grown men who were supporting wives, children, and making payments on new cars and mortgages with the money that we were making. I had been the youngest person in the entire company, and I was making far more money than any of my fellow high school graduate peers were. Any of them. Look at me now, I thought. I'm laying on a cold table with an intravenous needle in my arm, waiting for them to pump blood back into my arm after having put it through a machine to remove the plasma material. The entire process took about 1 hour. Yet I went through this entire ritual twice a week for a lousy $15 a week. Okay, now that's part of chapter 1. That was my introduction to this book.